The story of Mesoamerica begins long ago, during what we call the Archaic period, stretching from roughly 8000 BCE to 2000 BCE. In these ancient times, people were primarily nomadic hunter-gatherers, constantly moving across the land in small bands to find food. They hunted animals like deer and rabbits, and gathered wild plants, seeds, and nuts. However, a monumental shift was slowly taking place. These early inhabitants began to experiment with plant cultivation, a process that would forever change their way of life. This wasn't a sudden revolution, but a gradual learning curve, observing how plants grew and how they could be encouraged to produce more food in specific locations, leading them towards a more settled existence. Over thousands of years, these early Mesoamericans became master horticulturalists. They domesticated key crops that would become the staples of all future civilizations in the region: maize or corn, beans and squash, often referred to as the Three Sisters. These plants grew well together and provided a balanced diet. Important early farming areas like the Tehuacán Valley in Puebla, Mexico, provide us with crucial archaeological evidence of this transition. Caves such as Coxcatlan Cave, within this valley, have yielded tiny ancient corn cobs, some no bigger than a human finger, showing the long process of maize domestication from a wild grass called teosinte. This agricultural revolution was the very bedrock upon which complex societies would eventually be built. As farming became more reliable and productive, people no longer needed to roam constantly. Small permanent villages began to appear, often situated near fertile lands and water sources. With settled life came new social structures and the beginnings of religious beliefs. People started to build more substantial dwellings and to create pottery for cooking and storage. Early religious ideas likely revolved around the forces of nature that were so crucial for agriculture: the sun, rain, and the fertility of the earth. Shamans or spiritual leaders probably played important roles in village life, conducting rituals to ensure good harvests and appease the gods or spirits they believed controlled the world around them. This period also saw the development of early irrigation techniques. As populations in these small settlements grew, managing water resources became increasingly important, especially in drier regions or during unpredictable rainy seasons. Simple canals were dug to divert water from rivers and springs to the fields, allowing for more intensive farming and supporting larger communities. These innovations, though seemingly modest, were crucial steps. They laid the groundwork for the more complex societies that would emerge, demonstrating humankind's growing ability to shape the environment to meet its needs and fostering the cooperation necessary for larger communal projects, a hallmark of developing civilizations. Following the slow and steady developments of the Archaic, the Pre-Classic period, which is roughly 2000 BCE to 250 CE, witnessed an extraordinary acceleration in cultural complexity, most notably with the rise of Mesoamerica's first great civilization, the Olmec. Flourishing in the tropical lowlands of Mexico's Gulf Coast, in what are now the states of Veracruz and Tabasco, the Olmec established major centers such as San Lorenzo and La Venta. These were not mere villages but true ceremonial centers, with planned layouts and monumental constructions. The Olmec heartland, crisscrossed by rivers and lush vegetation, provided fertile ground for agriculture, supporting a growing population and allowing for specialization of labor, which is essential for developing complex societies. The Olmec are perhaps most famous for their incredible artistic achievements, particularly the colossal stone heads. These massive sculptures, carved from basalt boulders often transported over great distances, are believed to be portraits of Olmec rulers, each with unique facial features and headgear. Beyond these iconic heads, the Olmec also constructed some of the earliest pyramids in Mesoamerica, such as the Great Pyramid at La Venta, an enormous earthen mound that dominated the sacred precinct. Their religious centers were focal points for elaborate rituals, and their art is rich with imagery of supernatural beings, most notably the were-jaguar, a composite human-feline creature that seems to have been a central figure in their cosmology. While the Olmec flourished on the Gulf Coast, other cultures were also developing in different parts of Mesoamerica. In the highlands of Oaxaca, the Zapotec people began to create their own distinctive civilization. Around 500 BCE, they established a magnificent capital at Monte Alban, strategically located on a mountaintop overlooking 3 valleys. Monte Alban grew into a major city, characterized by impressive stone architecture, including palaces, temples, an observatory, and numerous tombs. the Zapotecs also developed one of the earliest writing systems in Mesoamerica, using carved stone monuments, known as danzantes, to record important events and perhaps depict captives or leaders. Their sophisticated city planning is evident in the main plaza and the careful arrangement of buildings. Elsewhere, in the Maya lowlands of present-day Guatemala, Belize, and southern Mexico, the foundations of Maya civilization were being laid during the late pre-classic period. Large ceremonial centers like El Mirador and Nakbe emerged, boasting enormous pyramids and platforms that dwarfed many later Maya constructions. These early Maya sites show evidence of powerful rulers, sophisticated artistic traditions, and the beginnings of the hieroglyphic writing system that would become so characteristic of classic Maya culture. Stelae, or upright stone monuments, began to appear, carved with images of rulers and early forms of Maya script, signaling the rise of divine kingship and the recording of historical and mythological narratives. The Classic period, spanning from approximately 250 CE to 900 CE, represents a golden age for many Mesoamerican civilizations, marked by incredible achievements in art, architecture, science, and social organization. Dominating central Mexico during the early Classic was the immense city of Teotihuacan. Located in a valley northeast of modern Mexico City, Teotihuacan grew to be one of the largest cities in the world at its zenith, with a population estimated at over 100,000 people. Its layout was meticulously planned, centered around the massive Avenue of the Dead, a broad causeway stretching for miles and flanked by impressive ceremonial structures. This city was a true metropolis, a hub of commerce, religion, and political power. Teotihuacan's skyline was dominated by its colossal pyramids, the Pyramid of the Sun, one of the largest structures ever built in the ancient Americas, and the slightly smaller Pyramid of the Moon. The Temple of Quetzalcoatl, or the Feathered Serpent, was another architectural marvel, adorned with intricate carvings of the deity. Beyond these monumental structures, the city was composed of multi-family apartment compounds, often lavishly decorated with murals depicting religious ceremonies, deities, and animals. Teotihuacan's influence was vast, extending throughout Mesoamerica. Its distinctive art styles, pottery, and architectural forms were emulated by other cultures, including the Maya, indicating extensive trade networks and possibly political or religious dominance. Meanwhile, in the Maya lowlands, the Classic period saw the flourishing of numerous independent city-states such as Tikal, Palenque, Copan, and Calakmul. These cities were renowned for their magnificent stone architecture, including towering pyramids, intricate palaces, and observatories. The Maya developed a highly sophisticated hieroglyphic writing system, the most advanced in the pre-Columbian Americas, which they used to record their history, mythology, and astronomical observations on stone monuments, pottery, and codices, or screenfold books. They also perfected a complex calendar system, incorporating the 260-day sacred almanac and the 365-day solar year into the long count, which allowed them to pinpoint dates over vast stretches of time. The ritual ball game, played with a solid rubber ball in specially constructed courts, was a significant aspect of Maya life, imbued with deep religious and political meaning. Intense rivalries often existed between these city-states, leading to frequent warfare. However, this era of splendor eventually gave way to a period of decline and transformation, known as the Epi-Classic or Terminal Classic period, roughly 800 to 1000 CE. Around the 8th and 9th centuries, many of the great classic centers, including Teotihuacan and major Maya cities in the southern lowlands, experienced a dramatic decline. Populations dwindled, monumental construction ceased, and many cities were abandoned. The reasons for this collapse are complex and varied, likely involving a combination of factors such as internal strife, intensified warfare between city-states, overpopulation leading to environmental degradation and resource depletion, prolonged droughts, and the breakdown of traditional political and religious systems. This period marked a significant power shift in Mesoamerica. As the Great Classic period cities waned, new centers of power emerged during the Epi-Classic and the subsequent Post-Classic period, which is roughly 900 to 1521 CE. In central Mexico, the Toltecs rose to prominence, establishing their capital at Tula or Tolan. Tula became a significant city, known for its distinctive architecture, including colonnaded halls and impressive warrior statues, often called Atlantean figures, which supported temple roofs. The Toltecs were renowned as fierce warriors and skilled artisans, and their culture, particularly the cult of Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent god, exerted a strong influence on later Mesoamerican peoples, including the Maya and the Aztecs, who often traced their own noble lineages back to the revered Toltecs. Further south, in the region of Oaxaca, the Mixtec people became dominant after the decline of Monte Alban. The Mixtecs were exceptional artists and craftspeople, particularly famous for their exquisite goldwork, turquoise mosaics, and intricately painted pictorial manuscripts known as codices. These beautiful screenfold books, made from deerskin or bark paper, recorded their genealogies, histories, myths, and rituals in vibrant detail, providing invaluable insights into their culture and worldview. The Mixtecs lived in numerous small kingdoms, often engaging in complex alliances and conflicts. Their legacy is one of remarkable artistry and detailed historical record-keeping, a testament to their sophisticated society and rich cultural heritage that thrived for centuries. In the Maya area, the post-classic period saw a shift in power from the southern lowlands to the Yucatan Peninsula. Cities like Chichen Itza rose to prominence, displaying a fascinating blend of Maya and Central Mexican, possibly Toltec, architectural and artistic styles, exemplified by structures like El Castillo Pyramid and the Temple of the Warriors. Later, Mayapan became the dominant Maya capital in Yucatan, a large walled city that controlled much of the peninsula for a couple of centuries. Coastal towns such as Tulum also flourished, engaged in extensive maritime trade networks that stretched around the peninsula and into the Caribbean. Though different from their classic predecessors, post-classic Maya societies remained vibrant and resilient. The final great indigenous empire of Mesoamerica was that of the Aztecs, or Mexica as they called themselves. According to their legends, they were a nomadic tribe who migrated from a mythical northern homeland called Aztlan. After a long journey, they founded their magnificent capital, Tenochtitlan, on an island in Lake Texcoco in 1325 CE. Through shrewd alliances, particularly the Triple Alliance with Texcoco and Tlacopan, and relentless military conquest, the Aztecs built a vast empire that stretched across much of central Mexico. Tenochtitlan grew into a stunning metropolis, with grand pyramids, palaces, bustling markets, and ingenious floating gardens called chinampas. Aztec society was highly stratified, with a powerful emperor, nobles, priests, warriors, merchants, and commoners. Their complex religion involved a pantheon of gods and elaborate ceremonies, some including human sacrifice. This powerful empire, however, met its end with the arrival of the Spanish conquistadors, led by Hernán Cortés in 1519. Allied with rival native states, the Spanish besieged and conquered Tenochtitlan in 1521, marking the fall of the Aztec Empire and the beginning of centuries of Spanish colonial rule, which honestly, irrevocably changed the course of Mesoamerican history.